Hey everybody. So, hope you guys are doing all right. So this is some of you guys have already seen similar ideas of this, but this is essentially well, what I'd like to do is get a number of us gathered together here in America and work on starting to grow our own vegetables and building our own vertical farm growing systems and using our own 3D printing technologies to get familiar with them so that we can take that experience and expertise. And also, we also need to learn how to protect ourselves and defend ourselves with weapons, ammunition, guns, the whole 9 yards. And then we can take these skills over to third world countries and places that need help with basic things like food, water, shelter, education, and protection. And we can provide those things. And not only can we provide those things, but we can also help teach the local population so that they can then do these things for themselves, so that we can actually help them help themselves and not just enable them, which is what I think, unfortunately, a lot of charities do. So anyway, this is just a very rough draft thing that can easily be changed around. Just drew it off the top of my head, but right here on the outer wall would be a protective wall, much like a castle, made out of hempcrete. And hempcrete is just hemp mixed with usually limestone or some other type of additive, and you put those together and you have literally a building block, and you can put those blocks together and you have yourself a structure. Hemp is a very good insulator, and it can also be used as it's also very good as a protection agency. You can actually put it on bullets to make the bullets stronger. And I believe you can make body armor out of it. But anyway, so and then right here in the middle, you have the vertical farm growing system. Vertical farm growing systems are expensive. One of the reasons why they're expensive, from what I've read, is because of the electricity costs. Now, if we're doing this in Africa, we could utilize the sunshine and perhaps get in some used solar panels, because again, solar panels themselves, if you look into what it takes to make them, they're actually not very good for the planet. But we can use the ones that have already been made for good purpose. So I'm all about using the used things that we already have for good purpose. So we can get used solar panels, use them, and use that to help out the energy costs. We can also try, experimenting with things like Tesla coils, wind generators, and even an idea that I've shared concerning like a man-powered electric generator. You know, then you just got simple things like big dwellings or shelters or whatever you want to call them for things like medicinal purposes or education tents, entertainment tents, and even a tent for community fairs. Again, this is all stuff that's open to change and discussion based on the preference of the village. And you got little houses and dwellings right here for the people. And you got places for the energy generators. Yeah, just simple shit. You got some wells here, or you have an aqueduct bringing in water. I'd like to have a well, but you want all of this inside of the perimeter so that you can protect it. Because one of the big problems in Africa is they've got just gangs of warlords and people that just run around just raping and pillaging the local population. And from what I've learned, they do this largely to keep the population under control. They control them with their food, with their water. They limit their water, or they kill off their water supply so that they don't have any water and they end up dying. And this is how that they're able to get them to do what they want them to do. So one of the ways that we can help the people out is by providing protection. And then you can also, teach them how to defend themselves so that when people do come to attack and to raid and to kill them, that they are able to actually fight back and hopefully push the people away so that people stop attacking them. Then they're also able to grow their own food and And this type of idea hopefully will be good enough so that they can take what they've learned here and they can take it on to the next town, to the next village, and to their next neighbor. And then that town and that village can develop a similar type of thing. And then this could be something that could spread throughout the whole world, and it could change the whole world into something that is instead, capitalistic and wants to eat itself, that actually wants to help itself. So anyways, again, these are just some rough draft drawings, so don't take it too seriously. But let's continue on here. So yeah, again with the hemp, hemp has the perfect omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acid ratio for the optimal human immune system. And when your immune system is running optimally, you should be able to fight off most, if not all, sicknesses. So it's something to keep in mind. So yeah, and then as well as hemp, we can also be growing other natural herbs and remedies to use for alleviation of pain and for healing benefits. So this idea would provide food, protection, shelter, water, ability to produce one's own biodegradable products like cups, tables, tools. You can get all that from 3D printing, and you're able to do that through turning hemp into a filament, which can then be printed. So as long as you've got an abundance of hemp in a 3D printer, you can pretty much keep printing anything, as long as it can be turned into a plastic. We're also going to be providing work, by having this community, by having this village, by having this 3D printer and these, this farm. That's all work. That all takes maintenance. That all takes care. That all takes things to be done in order for it to operate smoothly. So we would also be providing them with work, which is good. So it's also a way to perpetuate a good future, which is work. Duh. All right, so we are going to need some land with water access, whether that's a well or a way to build an aqueduct so that you can take water from one well or river to the village. But one way or another, you're going to have some type of water access. 3D printer, vertical farm growing system, or an area/tools for traditional farm growing system. Tools, resources to feed and help people/workers until they can do so for themselves. We're going to need teachers to teach agricultural, protection, education, maintenance, anything else that needs teaching along the way. We need teachers. So those are going to have to be hired and paid for. We're also going to need people to teach about weapons, armor, and ammo. So all these things also need help with teaching and being funded. All right, so this is just a super rough estimate of costs, but just land with water access, $250,000. 3D printer, I found one large one that's capable of printing 2 feet sections of plastic for $139,000. Now that's a lot of money, but again, once you buy this printer, it can continue printing indefinitely. So as long as you have enough filament, you can continue printing forever. And you can also develop nonprofit businesses that offer up items at nonprofit prices, so that you can actually begin to accumulate revenue and resources back by offering these up to the public. And you'd also be taking away from the money and the power that these corporate conglomerates are making from the people. So it's kind of a win-win. Anyway, moving on. Vertical farm growing system. As I said, these can be expensive, but there's ways to mitigate and lessen the cost of the expenses. You can also learn how to build them yourself, which I think would take away a lot of the expenses. But right now you're looking at about $1 million for a 1,000 square foot facility from this particular company called iFarm. Tools. So yeah, we're going to need gear, weapons, and ammo. I did this for about 100 people in mind. So for about 100 people to fully garb them, I was thinking about $200,000. Again, these are very rough estimates. So resources for food, water, shelter, and other, and that 200, that's for a full year too of servitude. So yeah, resources for food, water, shelter, and other essentials until area can perpetuate their own. Again, that's just paying for I think I factored that in for about a village of about 1,000 people, $250,000 for I think a whole year, or was it 30 days? I'm not sure. These are just rough estimates, but again, I'm not focused too much on how much this costs, because this is what I feel is God's will, is for us to change the whole world and develop it into something like this. So this type of money, 250 grand, that ain't nothing to God. I mean, people have millions of dollars out there, and this is something to help starving children, to help change the whole fate of humankind. So I'm not going to get hung up on numbers like $250,000. It's very inconsequential in my opinion. So want to throw that out there. Teachers, and again, I will get into the specifics, but that's not what this is for. I'm just giving an idea to share with the world right now, and as I continue on, I'll get more specific with it. This is just the way my creative process works. Teachers to teach agricultural protection and maybe some wise education, help them help themselves. To pay the teachers, I was thinking $150,000 for maybe 30 days of 10 teachers making $500 a day. Maybe that's a little too low. I don't know. But we're going to need to pay for some teachers. Excuse me. Temporary shelter/dwellings. This is going to be cheap. $10,000. You can get cheap used trailers, tents, material to use to build shacks, and you get old generators and lamps. I mean, you can get things cheap. So that's not very expensive. Wages for the helpers. That would be like people like myself who want to volunteer to help out with this. It's a volunteer, but they still need to make money to pay for themselves. So for 100 people working 40 hours a week at $15 an hour for a whole year, that's $2,500,000. But remember, that's 100 people working 40 hours a week for a full year. So that's a lot of work. That's a lot of power. And those 100 people would be trained ideally in how to protect and defend themselves, how to grow simple foods, and how to build simple structures and maintain the village or the community. Those 4 things they would need to be in order to, be able to be paid that wage and be responsible for the responsibility, actually be able to perform and fulfill their responsibilities. But that's how much it would cost. Electrical/internet capabilities. Again, we could use old generators, maybe a satellite phone/solar. By going to these places, there's sacrifices we're all going to have to make. So you might not have the same type of internet capabilities that you do here in the States. Is what it is. We could also look into building our own internet connection, but that's a whole other thing. So we also need a code or way of doing things that we as the helpers can use to help us be more effective and stay away from the allure of evil. This code would be for us, not... When I say it would be for us, like, I don't want to implement the way we do things on the local populace. Like, as long as the local populace isn't killing each other and hurting themselves, then I'm fine with it. But I don't want to enforce our way of doing things onto them. I just want to help show them how we build these things. If they want to learn from us and work with us, cool. If not, that's cool too. So, me and Pop's opinion. Oh, Proverbs. If they were open to suggestion, Proverbs is a good place to look when looking how to deal with things. Big time philanthropist or a government organization. Another reason why I've been working on talking more about the government is I'm realizing how much money this is going to cost, and everything I'm talking about is really stuff that good government agencies should be doing. So part of me is like, I should be having the government do this. But another part of me is like, the government's so corrupt, and there are philanthropists, there are a lot of people with a lot of money who also say that they're, Christians or spiritual or this and that. Like, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever works. I like seeing a lot of parties work together. So if there's a way that part of the government and part of independent parties and part of the public can all work together to make this thing happen, I think that would be the best. But that's just me. All hands on deck. You know what I'm saying? I think I've gotten over pretty much most of that stuff. But there is a staging I wanted to share with you guys. Hold on. Oh, where is it? It's over here. Okay. First stage is a meetup and then a training/basic type camp of area. Maybe I'll make another video on the stages. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. All right. I love you guys. Y'all take care. Bye.